What's up, people? I am back. Sorry for not doing a video yesterday. Today, I'm doing two. I'm doing this one, which I was supposed to do yesterday, and then tonight, I'll be reviewing Silent Night. So it'll be basically two horrors. So we're doing, right now, It's a Wonderful Knife, and then tonight, I'm doing Silent Night. Not that Silent Night, not the one I reviewed last year. That was like an action movie. No, I'm talking about the horror movie. It's based off the original Silent Night, Deadly Night, but it was just called Silent Night. It came out in 2012, so figured why not do that one, and then, um, yeah. So, but It's a Wonderful Life. I've never seen the original It's a Wonderful Life. I will preface that. I will be watching that at some point this holiday. I'm not gonna do a video on it, but I'll probably give my quick thoughts in another video. So either this week or like maybe I'll watch it like right before Christmas, like maybe next Monday or Tuesday or something. Probably Tuesday. You know what? Next Tuesday makes more sense because it'll be Christmas Eve. So I'll watch it on Christmas Eve. So, but It's a Wonderful Night. I like I said, I remember this coming out last year, and I remember I actually was gonna watch it. I think I had planned on watching it and reviewing it. I just didn't get around to it. I never got around to it till this year. So the premise pretty much is it's a spin if you've seen the original It's a Wonderful Life, but it's a horror version of that. And she has to try to prevent deaths. Winnie, who's the main character, who I'm gonna say it, she's not good. Actress isn't bad or anything, so it's not her fault. I just think her character was just not likable. She was jealous of her brother, gets a car, and I get it. Her friends were killed last year. The town of Angel Falls. That's where this is set. And the angel kills a couple of her friends, and then she ends up killing it. And then she unmasks the killer, and it's Henry. But she's also obviously seen as a little bit of a outcast. And like her family has moved on. And the problem I have with this movie is just none of the characters are likable. And this is actually the bigger problem I have with the movie. The killer. Not like the reveal, because the reveal basically is the mayor is in on it. Henry Waters, turns out he has everybody in a trance, and I guess he's able to convince people to kill. It's stupid. It's such a stupid premise. And I think the problem I have, like I said, is the killer. The killer in the costume. There are some solid kills, I'll be honest, especially in the beginning. Like there was one where he used like a candy cane through somebody's face. Brutal. But the killer has no character. Yeah, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, even Art the Clown. They don't talk, but they show personality in the way with their, especially Art, but with the way their little mannerisms. Michael Myers, the head tilt, the way he moves. He may not talk, but obviously he has the breathing. But even take that out of it, he has the creepy little mannerisms that gives him personality. He may not say words, but it still has personality. The killer in this is just a person in a white mask, and basically think the ghost face costume, but just white. It's not good. The mask looks kind of shit too. It just looks like a white blob of nothing. There's no eyes or anything. Um, the knife's kind of cool looking, but I just feel like when the killer appears on screen, I just never. I don't get scared for horror movies, with especially slashers, but I still want to have that feeling. Oh, well, the killer's here. The story's gonna pick up. I didn't get that in this. I'm just like, oh, the killer's on screen. Okay, it's just I really think they didn't really, and it's sad because I think the movie's actually shot well. Like the atmosphere is there, especially some of the scenes where you just get like this long shot of like the winter. It's snowing. There's a shot of her house like that's kind of creepy, and I'm like, if this was in a better movie, this could work. Or even the scene of her running in the woods. If this is a better movie, this scene would hit. And for the scenes he's in, I do like Justin Long. You can kind of tell he had fun, especially towards the end, but it's just like the rest of the movie. So when he goes to a party, this is where she catches her boyfriend cheating. She wishes she was never born. And so she's in an alternate reality now, which I really that's his thing. This movie has a kind of a big concept, but it's like they don't explore it at all. Like it's just very surface level. She's in this different world, but she just has to try to get out. And she basically has to now try to stop the angel because now that she wasn't born, she didn't kill him. So she has to try to get out of it. So he explains to the weird girl, I think her name's Bernie. I think she's like the other lead, and they a little group together to try to stop the killer. We get the reveal that it's Henry, and then she wakes up, everything's back to normal. Like this movie, I just could not get into it, man. Cool premise, but I just feel like they did not do more with it at all. It just they had a cool concept, but just did nothing with it. It's the perfect, really. That's all I could really describe. You have a good concept, but terrible execution, and that's probably what I'm going to call this movie because I actually like the idea. You know, and apparently, I think that's what happens with in It's a Wonderful Life, and it's supposed to be a spin on that. But I just feel like with this, it just did not deliver. Some solid kills, I guess, but everything else, just the killer had no personality, no nothing. Just it's just a guy in a mask, but not even like the ones in a mask, like Michael Myers and Jason. The way they move, like Jason, even sometimes the way he has little movements where it's like, okay, Jason has a personality, he just doesn't show it or talk. You know, art is so expressive, and he doesn't say a word. So I don't inherently have a problem with a killer who doesn't speak and wears a mask. If you're gonna have him have a personality, you just have them have a personality with their movements, and there's little things that give him a personality. The killer in this was just a guy in a costume, literally. Some cool kills, but that's it. This is not a memorable movie. One watch for me. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's not really good either. I don't really recommend it. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I don't think it's really you need to see this movie. This is one I don't necessarily think you need to see. You could easily just skip it and just kind of it's forgettable. So I kind of I don't necessarily that I regret watching it, but it was fine. I'd more watch it just because it was for the holidays. I needed something, but honestly, yeah, you could skip this movie. Really, nothing really major happens. I'm just gonna say it. Like nothing really happens. Like you have like I just feel like the killer just did not have any personality. No, nothing. No mannerisms. No little like ticks or anything like that. It was just nothing. So other than that, guys, that's all I can really say. I'm gonna get ready to get into the plot now, and that's it. I kind of figured this video was gonna be a bit shorter. I just don't have a lot to say. So tonight, Silent Night review. I'm hoping that's gonna be honestly better than this because I wanted a bit more from this movie, and it just didn't really give me much. So, out of 10, 5 out of 10. That's kind of where I'm thinking. 5 out of 10. Definitely, probably, I'm not gonna watch it again. I don't have any urge to. So, anyways, guys, let me ready to get into the movie now. Um, Subscribe to Pin Down Podcast. We won't be streaming for a little bit, but we will still be doing little stuff here and there. So, subscribe to it. But we will be back soon. And yeah, but let's get into It's a Wonderful Knife. And oh, really quick, even the score wasn't that memorable. And for me, a slasher movie should have a memorable score. I think horror in general, one of the best things, even in like sometimes a not a great horror movies, if you have a decent enough score, that could help. And I'm just gonna say it, there was no really good score here in this movie. The score was very just, I don't know, it's kind of basic almost. It wasn't anything crazy. And I'm going to say it again. Winnie's not necessarily a bad, the actress who played her, she wasn't bad. It was just the movie itself. She wasn't that great in. She just, I didn't find her that memorable, to be honest. She was just kind of there for me. But, anyways, guys, let's get into it. So we're introduced to Winnie, who lives in Angel Falls with her family. Joel McHale is in this movie. And even him, who I like Joel McHale, you know, if you remember Community, that show. But I just feel like he didn't really do much in this movie either. Like he was just kind of there. So she goes to a party. Kara's father refuses to let his house get repossessed by the city. Um, Henry, I think that's Justin Long's character, who I'm gonna say it. Justin Long, I wish he was in the movie more because he's like probably like some of the only scenes I like were him because he at least played the character so funny. And if he had gotten more scenes, maybe if he was the main character, I get he was the bad guy in the reveal, but I just felt like it would have been better if you didn't make him the bad guy. I personally would have just rather the angel just been some kind of, maybe they should have just gone. You already went this alternate reality anyway. Just go supernatural with the killer. Like I just think that would have worked better than trying to have it for. Like, it was like clear as day. Oh, he's only here just to be the bad guy, and it was kind of weak because he was like actually one of the better characters, and he just made him a bad guy. So she goes to a party. Her friends start getting killed by a masked assailant. Kills Roger. Then the angel kills Kara and nearly kills Winnie's brother. And I will say the scene where he kills her friend at the window, like she's at the door and the killer runs to behind her and stabs her. That was a good scene because it was in front of everybody. I'm like, okay, but just the movie never really got going. Even the chase scenes aren't that good. Like a good horror chase scene is supposed to get your blood pumping and you want her to escape, right? In this, I just like whatever. Okay, and so she ends up electrocuting him. We get this. We see the killer is Henry. So Winnie, basically is now uber depressed. Her friend's dead. I think she doesn't get invited to, or she doesn't get invited to, enrolled into like a big college. And her family's basically just like acting like everything is okay, not acknowledging what happened. Um, so she goes to a Christmas party. This is where we meet Bernie. She's this weird chick. That's all her character is. I'm not kidding you. She's just there to be called weirdo. That's it. That's kind of it. She's just there to be called weirdo. Just be weird. Um, and this is where she finds that Robbie, who's like her boyfriend, who he really none of her friends matter, obviously, because she goes to this alternate world. But it's like, why does she have friend characters? What is the point of them? They're just there to fill a slot. It they don't have any actual character, even a little bit of like even cookie cutter character. Even like some of these movies, they'll give you at least a little basic character, have something. There's not even that in this. It's just she's just they're all just kind of there, and it's not really a good movie. I'd only so she wishes she was never born, and that's when she gets basically taken. She gets chased by the angel initially. This is where she is now in an alternate world. I, the way I'm gonna say it too. The way she figures out too that she's in like an alternate reality is kind of retarded. I don't know how she just instantly knew I'm in an alternate world. She just somehow knew it. I mean, I get it. Things are gonna seem weirder to you if you are in that position, but I just feel like, would you instantly figure it out like that? I feel like it would take time, especially because most people are not gonna obviously even know about that concept of an alternate reality. You might know the concept of it somewhat, but you're not gonna be able to just get to that's what's happening. Like the way it happened was just how did she figure it out that quick? So the town sheriff now is Buck, who does not recognize her at all. When he tries to go to her family, they don't recognize her. Um, so it turns out that this world angel, I guess is what we're calling the killer in this, is still loose. And so I guess when he goes to Robbie's Christmas party again, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a happy death day thing. It almost seems like, which I'll eventually review those movies too, by the way. But yeah, like I don't know if they're going for like a happy death day thing here, where she has to relive this or Groundhog Day, whatever you want to call it. Because that's what it feels like they were going for with this scene. Because it even seemed like they were played out the same way. So after explaining to Bernie what's happening, the the angel chases them again, and I'm just saying it. Like the chase scenes are just not compelling. I know what you did last summer. I love that first. I know what you did this summer, but it has some problems. But the one thing that movie did really well is that chase scene. That chase scene between her and with Sarah Michelle Gellar and the killer is so iconic. That's like one thing a lot of people talk about. Even people who don't necessarily love the movie is that scene. Obviously, Scream, the original, the Sydney chase scene, the first one. It's not long, but I thought that was good. Halloween '78, Michael chasing Laurie, and with her trying to knock on everybody's doors, like you even Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. I actually really love the chase scene in that, and the remake too. So I just named a bunch of good horror movies that have a good chase scene, and this one, none of them matter. Okay, so they escape the killer, and this is where they somehow deduce too. I don't know how is Winnie like some fucking. The movie never explained. Is she some kind of Nancy Drew? Because she figures out everything. Obviously, she somehow figured out she's in an alternate reality. Then now she realizes the killer's targeting fucking people that Henry wants to acquire. It's basically their business. So basically the motive for Henry is he wants to kill the people so he can get their fucking um acquire their estate, basically acquire their home, acquire their properties, which is just that's retarded. That is the most retarded motive. So he wants to get people's property, so he's just gonna kill them to take their. That's weak, bro. That's like Lex Luthor real estate kind of thing for me. Like, especially for a killer motive. Like, that's so shit. I'm not gonna lie, that is shit. Like, I'll be honest. At this point, I was kind of tuned out. So I guess so his motive was he just wanted these people's properties. It's like, okay. All right. So, and she tells Aunt Gail about what happened. So this is where Aunt Gail's like one of the only few people who believes her. Then she tries to tell her father, but her father doesn't listen. Then this is where the killer kills her mom. I think he kills her dad too. And so it turns out David's behind the mask because they make out the killer and they unmask him. It's David, the man killing David. And I think the problem too I have with this movie, you're supposed to have like a core group of people you follow, right? Like that are your kind of survivors. Scream, even the original Halloween, Annie, Lori, Annie, and Linda. Annie and Linda is not the best performances ever, but they're a good friend group. Nightmare on Elm Street, another one that has a great friend group. Even the third one, like you have a good core group of like you want to call them survivors, victims, whatever you want to call them, and you're supposed to like them. And I really just felt like in this movie, you don't really care for them at all, man. Like even the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, that group you care about. But not slasher movies per se, but Final Destination. So better ones have a really good core group you follow. And I think I'm gonna be real. To an extent, I don't think they need to be like amazingly written or anything. But I do think you need to have a good, nice core group in your slashers because they're the ones you follow throughout the movie. You know, Sydney's friend group. Obviously, some of them were the killers, but disregard that point. The friend group in Nightmare, and Nancy's friends. They were a good core group. Like I just feel like you didn't really have that in this. Winnie, Bernie, and I think it was like her boyfriend or brother is part of it. Then and apparently we get this half-assed attempt at an emotional scene where Bernie reveals, "Oh, I was about to kill myself until you talked to me." I was like, "What?" That there was no setup for it. This character was not built up enough to have that kind of plot. It just felt like a half-ass. Like we need to have an emotional scene, so we're just gonna throw that in there. It's like, oh, okay, just throwing that in there. This feels so out of place. So she also deduces again the only way she can go back home now is she has to kill Henry, which is just like how does she know this shit? Like she just like that. The part that really got me is when she just somehow realizes this is an alternate reality. I guess you would after a while realize, wait, no, how does no one know me? But I don't know, man. Even if you were to deduce you're in that, I don't know how would you deduce to get out if you're just a normal person, not like some scientist, not like because as far as I remember, the movie doesn't like show that she like. I have a feeling. I think she is smart. She's some kind of smart. They didn't really show that like, maybe she knows about time travel or you know, or some kind of alternate realities. Maybe have her be a character that explores that. If you had that, at least I'd be like, okay, I can kind of get why she would figure it out because she knows about this shit. But she didn't. She's just a layman. I feel like most people would not figure that out. You might figure out it's an alternate reality. You wouldn't really figure out how to get out. And you also wouldn't figure out the killer's motive either. Which the motive is so bad. He wants to kill people so he can get their properties. It's like, that's weak. That's weak sauce. Especially if you really, because if you're a slasher, you always want to try to get a sequel. How the fuck are you going to sequelize that? It's a money motive. It's not even a real motive. Yeah, this movie's not good. They beat him. I'm just gonna kind of just jump to. They managed to kill him. The world's restored. She has back with her boyfriend, and then she talks to Bernie, and who still remembers what happened. Whatever. This movie sucks. It was such a disappointment. I wanted a bit more from this movie because, like I said, it was shot well. It has some good shots in there, and it was such a. It had a better plot. It's just like I said. If you notice, throughout the review, I wasn't really talking about the killer because there's not really much to talk about. Not just the motive. I'm talking about like the killer when he's in the costume. Even the ghost faces, even if it is multiple people, Ghostface has like little movements in the when he's in the costume. He has like these little movements and little things he does that makes him stand out. But not besides the voice stuff, like even just like the way he moves. The killer in this has none of that. There's no presence from the killer. Even Ghostface has some kind of presence, and that's just a dude in a costume. It's literally the same thing. But there's even Ben Willis from I Know What You Did Last Summer has presence. There's no presence with this killer. It's just a guy in a white mask, and not even a creepy looking white mask like a Michael Myers, and then basically a white ghost face costume, like the robe part. It just does not work for me, man. Some cool kills, I will say that. There's some nice gore, but for me, if anything, I would have been better off just watching like a kill compilation on YouTube and not even really needing to watch the whole movie. Because it did kind of feel like it was just a waste of time. At least it wasn't ridiculously long. I think it was like an hour and 40 or something like that. So it was not too long. I don't recommend it at all, though. I think you're better off skipping it. There's just nothing there. The lead isn't a bad actress. I think she probably could be a good actress if she had better stuff to work with. She didn't have anything to work with in this film. I felt like. And the side characters, like her family, her brother she makes a big deal out of it. They don't feel like real characters. They just, I get it. It's an alternate reality story, so it's gonna be those characters. Obviously, they're not gonna have the same memories. But it's still like, Bernie was like her only real friend group, and Bernie to me she was okay, but her whole character was, I'm weird. And then trying to force like, oh, I almost killed myself until you talked. I'm like, why did you throw that in there, movie? Like, you didn't build that up. It'd be one thing if you built that up throughout the film and maybe it would have hit, but it just didn't. It came out of nowhere. It felt very out of nowhere. I was like, okay, we're just throwing that in there. So yeah, 5 out of 10 movie. It's not good. I'm not watching it again. There are way better Christmas slashers. Fuck, the original Silent Night, Deadly Night's better. It has memeable moments, obviously, when he's like, punish, over and over. But that movie's way better than this. Simple, kept it simple. Black Christmas. Fuck, I'm gonna say it. Jack Frost, even though that's a mean movie. Even Santa Sleigh with Goldberg was better than this. At least I had fun with that. This was just shit. I was bored. The kills are cool, but it just didn't. It's like cool action in a bad movie. Like, you could be a good action movie. You can have some cool action, but if your movie's still not good action doesn't save it for me. It just doesn't. It'll be like, okay, that's some cool action that I can just watch on YouTube. I don't need to watch the movie. That's how I feel about this. Some cool kills. I don't need to watch the movie. Watch a kill comp. There's like Carnage counters on YouTube these days where a bunch of people just, all they do is just list the kills in the movie and you don't even have to watch the whole thing. You've been better off doing that. Because I'll agree, there are some cool looking kills in this film, but the rest of it is just bad. Justin Long was wasted, and the fact that his motive was, I just want your property, so I'm just gonna kill you, was just okay. That was kind of a reach. That's a stretch. I actually like the concept. Like, taking, like, you're going this alternate reality, but instead, it's an alternate reality with a serial killer. I think that could have been interesting, because we haven't. So I'll be honest, I have not seen it. Sorry. We haven't seen, like, a slasher plot like that. That's a pretty big plot. So the fact we never got to see it, and then you have the idea, but then you don't execute it well. You do nothing with it. So that's what I'm gonna kind of call it: good concept, bad execution, because that's what this was. This is another good, like, I guess you want to call it a concept film. It has a good idea in there, but it's weighed down by just generic actors. You have Joel McHale, but he's wasted. A lot of her family you don't care about. This movie is basically trying to tell you the only character you really need to care about is Winnie. And I guess Bernie, but that's it. You don't really care about any of the other characters that are on screen. They're just there to be on screen. Just to fill a quota. Oh, guys, we have actors in our movie, but we're not actually really doing anything with them. Joel McHale's a good actor, and I've seen him in somewhat, not dramatic, but not as comedic roles, and you could have actually did something with him, but he was just kind of a dick the whole movie. Justin Long. If you're gonna have him be the bad guy, at least have him be in way more scenes. He's like the only actor I felt like kind of gave a shit. He was at least trying, but he's not in it enough. He's like only like in the beginning. There's a scene with him like at a scene of a crime where he's acting all weird, and then the reveal. The re-reveal, because you get the reveal in the beginning, but like the big reveal in the end. It didn't work for me. 5 out of 10. I'm only giving it a 5 because of the kills. Part of me really wants to give it lower, but if I'm being fair, it's not the worst thing ever, but it's not good either, so 5 out of 10. But other than that, guys, tonight, Silent Night review. I've seen it once. If I remember, it's a reboot. It's basically, it's not the same, like, it's kind of like, it's the idea of a guy in a Santa costume killing people, but it's not based off the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. So, but I'll be reviewing that tonight, and then, yeah, other than that, guys, I'm ready to call it here. Like I said, It's a Wonderful Life isn't good. I will be watching the actual It's a Wonderful Life on Christmas Eve. So, that's the plan. So, but other than that, guys, subscribe to Pin Down Podcast. Link will be in the description. Alright, guys. Talk to y'all later. Peace.